Okay, Dr. Ahmed Buli means the door is open. This link means its students or teachers can join us. The link is available from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. and they can enter. However, at 7 p.m. they can no longer join us. The system stays open. Dr. Mahmoud asks, what if a student logs in but doesn't log out? Does the session remain open? This is another issue. Yes, after the session ends, I assume everyone must leave the session. Some might forget to leave it open. If we are going until 7:30, 8 or 9, the system won't close on us. So, what is Dr. Sultan asking? Dr. Mahmoud asks, what if a student logs in but doesn't log out? Does the session remain open? You have another issue. After the session, everyone must leave. Some might forget to leave it open. This causes a problem. If a session starts at 4 p.m. and you check the report, it might say it ended at 11 p.m. You might wonder, how did it end at 11 p.m.? I finish at 7 p.m. The system records the last exit. Afterwards, I assume the student or everyone must leave. Some forgets to leave it open. If the session started and a student logged in at 4 p.m., it might say 4 p.m. to 11 p.m. You think, how? I finish at 7 p.m. The system records the last exit. If a student logs out at 11 p.m., it shows that, which is an issue. The second question is about early entry. Entering before 4 p.m. is fine. The system should allow entry only at 4 p.m. We will clarify this now. A problem occurs when a student logs in at 4 p.m. The attendance report might show the session started at 4 p.m. and ended at 11 p.m. You might wonder, how did it end at 11 p.m.? I finish at 7 p.m. The system records the last exit. If the student logs out at 11 p.m., it shows the last exit, which is an issue. The second question is about entering before 4 p.m. Entering before 4 p.m. is fine. Entry should be exactly at 4 p.m. We will clarify this. We explained the start and end times. Let's keep it from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., specifying a.m. or p.m. The doctor says entry must be exactly at 4 p.m. I can set it here. The last exit. The student logged out at 11 p.m. The system shows the last exit, a real issue. If we logged in before 4 p.m., there's no problem. The system should allow entry exactly at 4 p.m. Now, we were explaining the start and end times. Let's keep it from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Entry must be exactly at 4 p.m. I can set it from here. There's something called early entry. The link will be available from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Can I allow students to enter before 4 p.m.? Can they join the session and wait until I log in? Right now, we were clarifying the start and end times. I will say, let's set it for 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. and specify whether it's a.m. or p.m. The part that the doctor is talking about is that entry must be exactly at 4 p.m. Where can I set this? I can set it from here, as you can see. Now, there's something called early entry. I specified that the link will be available from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. So, can I allow students to enter before 4 p.m.? Can they join the session and wait for me until I log in? I might allow the student to enter 15 minutes before 4 p.m., meaning they can join at 3:45 p.m. or even half an hour before, which would be 3:30 p.m. So, starting from 3 p.m., the student can enter. There's something referred to as early entry. Actually, I've set the link to be available from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. So then, can I allow students, perhaps maybe even enter before it is exactly at 4 p.m.? Can they join in on this session and sit there waiting patiently for me until I log in? Can I allow the student 15 minutes before 4 o'clock to enter the session, meaning at 4 o'clock for a win, or half an hour before that, meaning at 3:30 the student can enter, or 45 minutes before that, meaning at 3 o'clock and a win, starting at 3 and a win the student can enter, or even 60 minutes before, the student can enter the session and wait for me until I log in at 4 p.m. as specified. There's no problem. But if I want to ensure that no student enters at all, then the link won't appear until exactly 4 p.m. A student who wants to enter can't log in before 4 p.m. The link will only show up starting at 4 p.m. and the student can click on it at 4 p.m. I select no early entry. By choosing no early entry, I am preventing the students from entering before 4 p.m. They can't enter until 4 p.m. The link won't appear until exactly 4 p.m. So, a student who wants to enter can't log in before 4 p.m. The link will show up starting at 4 p.m. and the student can click on it at that time. I select no early entry. By choosing no early entry, I am preventing the students from entering before 4 p.m. They can't enter until 4 p.m. So, I've strictly prevented the students from entering before 4 p.m. They absolutely won't be allowed in until exactly at 4 p.m. without any exception, under any circumstances at all. Okay, Dr. Mahmoud is saying that before I record my exit, I should remove everyone from the session. No, that's not necessary. It's not necessary, doctor. What do they mean? If you have 70 students in the class or 80 students, are you going to sit there and count? This usually happens sometimes due to forgetfulness from a student, and then the system, even if you leave a report that shows from 4:00 to 11, it's not a problem. We understand that this student left late. There's a question. There is no solution to the issue. What? The last one to leave. So if it happens at 7 Khoros, the online class closes automatically. No, unfortunately, there isn't that 7 Khoros issue. We can try to look into it with the company. We can try to see it with the company, but for now, there isn't a solution to this issue. There's a question. So there's no solution to the issue. The last one to leave, if it happens at 7, the class closes automatically. Sadly, there's no 7 issue. We can look into it with the company, but for now, there's no solution to this issue. Okay, let's go back to the settings. The most important thing is the session name, guest arrival. We understood what guest arrival means and the start and end times and early entry. Now, we'll leave these two settings for now. We should try to discuss it with the company. We should try to see it with the company. But for now, there isn't a solution to this issue. Okay, let's go back to the settings. The most important thing, as we agreed, is the session name and guest arrival. We understood what guest arrival means and the start and end times, right? And early entry. Now we'll just leave these two settings for now. We'll explain them, but after a little while, then we'll come to the session settings. Do you see the session settings here? All right. You'll find that it includes, there's something called the role of the virtual attendee. And I want to clarify here that the attendee refers to the student. Keep in mind that there's a difference between a guest and a student. The guest is not a student in this class. They are coming from outside. That's why I was giving them their permissions as a guest. But here, in the session settings, the virtual attendee will be my student of the department. Also, the same idea applies here. If you want to make them participants, you should set all the students in the class who will attend your session to be participants, whether they are attendees, presenters, or coordinators. We already know the difference. A participant will just participate without being allowed to use the microphone. They don't have permissions. All right, I assign them specific permissions. The presenter can use the microphone and share content, so they have higher permissions than a participant. Of course, the coordinator, like I am in today's training, has all the permissions. I can even remove someone from the session, so I have all the permissions. So let's keep it as a participant, agreed. And then if you want later on in the session or during the lecture, if I want to make someone a presenter, what should I do? You come to the circle with the 3 dots on the left of the name, select it, and say, make this specific student a presenter. No problem, that's fine. But it's better to keep them as a regular participant, right? So we keep them as a participant. All right, here we also choose. In the recording, of course, when you all enter the session, when you enter the lecture, it's better for you all to come here and do what? You'll find the word start recording. You'll find a word here that says start the recording. It's best to click on start recording. Why? To record the lecture so that the student can go back to this recording later and benefit from it. Therefore, here, we choose to allow downloading of the recordings. Why? Because even when a student wants to download this recording as a video on their laptop and they can view it without the internet, what can I allow them to do? Can I allow them to download this recording? Okay, here I have something called anonymous chat messages. Anonymous chat messages are not specified because they are visible to everyone. You can write anonymous messages, meaning the source is unknown. Dr. Mahmoud Dawood sent me a message and I know it's from him. If it's anonymous, the name won't appear, just stars. Who sent it then? It's anonymous, so I won't activate this option. I want to know who sent me the message. The key is to keep the presenter as a participant and allow recording downloads for students if permitted. Okay, the one who wrote the message is, I know it's Dr. Mahmoud, right? But if I say it's anonymous, you'll find that this name won't be there. It will just be what? Stars. It will show like this. What stars? What will it show? God. So who sent it then? I saw a message, but I don't know who it is. It's anonymous. Therefore, I won't activate this option for anonymous chat messages. I don't want it. I want to know who actually sent me the message. So, the most important thing for me is to keep the role of the presenter as a participant, and I agree to allow downloading of the recordings if I want to give this permission to the students so they can download the recording and benefit from it. No problem at all. Exactly. Who sent me this message? So, the best thing, the most important thing for me is to keep the role of the presenter as a participant, and I agree to allow downloading of the recordings if I want to give this permission to the students so they can download the recording and benefit from it. There's absolutely no problem at all.